You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network.
Wake up to the world you've been missing. Time to jump out of bed in the morning. No day, no life, now we're living. Can you feel it in the air that you're breathing? Time to show 'em what you're made of. Let's get back on track. Are you ready for a come on? Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Are you ready now? You're lifting off the ground. Welcome back. No calming down. Can you feel it all around? Welcome back.
Hello and welcome back to Super Mega Crash Beyond. I'm your host, Stephen White. With me, as always, my co-host, Lacey Fidley.
Happy Monday. Or whatever day you're listening, of course.
Yeah, whenever you're listening. Man, we gotta talk about this movie.
Probably have already seen the thumbnail, I'd imagine. You know, we can't really hide it from you, I guess, until...
You know, for some people, they might look at it and be like, Mannequin? The hell is that?
Yeah. That's a fair question.
They're probably talking about these the wooden people that you see in the stores that are displaying clothes. Is that what we're talking about? Kind of, yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
But not that specifically, but
Yeah.
kind of.
Kind of, yeah.
So, yes, we're talking about
It's like we
Mannequin.
don't even know how to get started. We're just like, well, this movie, it's a thing.
I guess I want to start by talking about my personal experience with this movie, because as we kind of started talking before we started recording, you were saying some stuff and I was like, holy shit, are we going to relate on this very same thing too?
Again?
Because-
like our Evil Dead 2 experience?
Because, yeah, for whatever reason, I was obsessed with this movie as a kid. Okay? I'm 7 years old when it's coming out.
Uh-huh.
There was a song associated with it. You know, what was not Jefferson? Was
the
it
beginning?
Jefferson Starship? Was the name of the band?
Maybe. I'd have to look that up. Like, I remember the song, but I never remember who sings what.
I think
Okay.
it's Jefferson Starship just Starship. You know, because they went through that phase of whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
But nothing's gonna stop us now. That was a big song.
Oh, yeah. I can't not hear that. Or every time I hear that song, I can't not think of Mannequin. Like, it just happens. Now I also have the Bill Hader and Kristen Wiig scene. I can't remember what movie that was, but they did a whole thing where they danced to it and like sang to it. So that comes in my mind now also. But yeah, this song is 100% for Mannequin in my head.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a big
Gotta stop
song
dancing
at the
now.
time. And I liked the song. There was a music video along with it. Loved the music video. I think this is one of those that I remember having recorded off of Friday night videos on NBC late night. I remember having it and I was like, oh my God. Because you see when we got awesome music videos for movies where it would intercut with the movie footage and then the band, and then you'd have these elaborate music videos. It
Like
was
a
one of those.
story or something.
Yeah, a story. There's always a story.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for whatever reason, I was so excited to see this movie. And I remember seeing it and it was just like, oh my God, this is so great. And then I'm going to jump ahead a little, but we'll come back around to it. And then there was a sequel and I was like, oh my God, I got to see the sequel too.
I know.
For whatever reason. And then now, having revisited it, by the time I got to the end of it, I was like, what the fuck is this movie?
What am I doing? Yes.
What is it?
What? I know. I was just like, it was one of those things where I'm like, so they made a movie about a mannequin coming to life is what they just did.
Yeah.
And nothing yet. Like, yeah, we'll get into it. It's,
I mean, because let's even start from the beginning, because for some reason, I completely forgot about this. Okay. I remember in the sequel, because it doesn't really follow the same characters per
it's like
se.
different people altogether.
Except
right?
for whatever reason they brought back Hollywood, but we'll get into him later. So it was different circumstances, but the same story. So I remember it was like a necklace or something that she had, and this she was like a princess in medieval times or whatever. So that was kind of the impetus of that story. So I thought, oh, so they were coming up with a new concept for this or whatever. I completely forgot about this ancient Egypt.
Yeah, it's so brief. It's like, and it's the only explanation you ever get.
And it wasn't even a good explanation because she disappears. And it was like,
and that's that.
Yeah, we never get a reason why.
Well, I think because I had forgotten about the animated intro until it started.
Oh my God, yes.
I think that intro was basically giving us the story of how she ended up as, in whatever reason, a mannequin. So I don't know, because there was a couple of dialogues where they were talking about her dipping into certain or time frames.
Yeah,
I guess, and just being like, oh, I don't like this one or whatever, and then going dormant or something. Like that's what I didn't explain. Like, how did you just keep, and why a mannequin?
Yeah.
Why, like mannequins didn't exist throughout history, I don't think. Maybe like statues and stuff like that, where you just becoming a statue from time to time.
Yeah.
Like, how were you just dipping in and decided, nah, and then just like going back? Like, were you and the gods like that close?
Yeah, there's so much about it. Like, there's so many questions that are never answered.
They just loosely wanted to do a movie about a mannequin coming to life, and they just like barely threw it enough to kind of make it make sense, I guess. Enough for you to go, all right, you know what? I'm just gonna let this happen.
And even then, that was, when I got to the end, that was what I was yelling. I was like, what was the point?
What were we doing?
For him to just marry a mannequin?
Learn? Yeah. Like, was it supposed to be a romantic love story? I guess it's but dude's like, okay, so I guess we're just gonna have to start because we're so confused. And I watched it so much as a kid, like you. I don't know what it was about it. I probably really liked Andrew,
Sure.
And so I remember watching a lot of his movies.
And yeah, let's go ahead and shout him out. Andrew McCarthy is killing it. Okay, he's selling it. He's in it.
Him and Kim. I'm sorry. Like, I don't think I even remembered just how Kim played the mannequin.
Yeah.
Or what's her name in the movie? Jesus, I just watched it too. Emmy. Okay. Like, I just like this childlike wonder on and like committed to the childlike wonder of everything, or like even when they turned on the radio, where's the band playing? Where are they at? And all the little speakers, she's just like 100% an idiot or something. Well, I mean, I should say an idiot, I guess. Like, you just don't know the 20th century or whatever, because we're in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
It's
in the 80s.
So 80s. Like, the clothing is 80s. The chase scenes with the music that plays is so 80s. Like, they're never gonna like
so many characters
they were making it, but it was just
so many characters are 80s, and I want to get into them, but I don't want to jump ahead, so keep going.
Yeah. So they just kind of loosely did it in the beginning where Emmy is hiding as a mummy from her mom because they want her to get married.
Yeah, let's talk about this whitewashing of ancient Egypt.
That too.
I understand that in the context of this story and the nonsense that it is, it doesn't matter. Like,
sure,
I'm sure that there is an Egyptian person out there going, you know what? I'm good.
We'll let him have this.
Yeah, we didn't need that.
We didn't pray to the gods for that stuff, It's whatever.
And they're so of our time. And they're talking. They're just like, oh, come on.
Right.
Yeah, like they used to talk like that in ancient Egypt, sure.
Maybe, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. I should say, I don't know if that's how they talk to each other. I'm not even sure it was full English, but we don't know.
They could have done like translations, to help us understand that this is how they are talking, but updated so you understand it better.
Sure. Yeah. Like they were just, where you're supposed to pretend they're speaking whatever the language is, but for our benefit, they'll just use like an accent or something in movies or whatever. Like, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. She's speaking Spanish, but it's just with an accent or whatever, But they didn't even have that. They just said it was like some time ago in ancient Egypt, just before lunch. I think is what they said was the description, like just a little before lunch or whatever. Although the jokes were kind of cute though in the beginning, when she's like, "You're gonna marry him." Well, what does he do? Well, he's a fuel salesman. And she gives him a side eye. She's like, "All right, he sells camel dung. What do you want from me?" or whatever. And I'm like, well, that was kind of cute. I don't know. Kind of a cute little joke. But yeah. So she prays to the gods. She wants something more in life. She doesn't want to just be, you know, I guess barefoot and pregnant or whatever they were going to have her do. And all of a sudden, you know, this like little mini storm comes through and lightning, and she's just gone.
Yeah.
She's just missing. Mom's just like, well, my daughter is just gone. I guess the gods listened to her. She was telling her how like the gods have got plenty of other things to worry about than you, sweetie. Well, I guess not.
I guess
not. So that's how she moved through time. I guess she just prayed really hard because she didn't want to marry the camel dung guy. And the gods were like, yeah, that's too far. Nobody should have to go through that. And zipped her through time, I guess, until she became a mannequin.
For whatever reason. Again,
For whatever reason.
there wasn't a wish. At least a wish would have been one of those things. You'd have been like, okay, I understand why. But she didn't officially make any kind of wish. She was just like, oh, I just don't want to be here.
Well, then maybe this is a lesson on be careful what you wish for.
Maybe.
Since you weren't specific.
But still, that doesn't add up by the end because it worked out. Just in a long term, you know.
And that's because love fixes everything.
Sure.
I can throw bullshit at all of it, I guess. Like enough 80s movies we've seen, I could throw some sort of 80s bullshit on top of it.
Yeah.
Nothing's gonna stop them now, you know.
And okay, so yeah, as soon as we get that and the animated opening, oh my God.
Yeah.
I had
She's moving through
forgotten
time.
so much about this. But yes, so of the time, so 80s. And I mean, there was, I was trying to remember so many others that did this, but I know I've seen.
My wildest dreams.
Forgot that entire song. But a wonderful, wonderful animated just cavalcade of colors and shapes and
giving us the whole thing.
Whatever it is.
Her walking like the Egyptians through time because that's what they did, you know.
And I guess I missed that's what they were doing with the animated opening, is narrating her journey through time. So good call on you for pointing that out. 'Cause I guess
I'm pretty sure that's what it was, because then by the end of the animation, you know, she's ducking to try to not get made into a mannequin or whatever. And then all of a sudden now he's holding the mannequin in today's day and age, you know, like.
Yeah.
Already a little weird, though. Like, let's just say the fact he has no awareness, really, at how weird he's being with the mannequins before, like, we even know one comes alive or anything is just, did we not think about, I don't know, look, to each their own, right? That's fine. You're not hurting anyone, I guess, you know, but I feel like we should have been a little more concerned.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
As a whole. Because, I mean, he's just like, he's in love already. And they tried to make it, that was another thing, too. The excuse as to why he's so, you know, enamored with this particular mannequin. Because he's an artist, apparently, you know, was a sculptor or something to that effect. So this is the first thing that he's made in a long time that he was just proud of. So I'm guessing we're supposed to believe he made the mannequin ground up, like, he was handed no parts. Like, he was like picking out arms and legs. So I'm like, what did you make? Did you paint the makeup on? Like, we didn't even get that explanation. Like, what about her did you make, sir?
Yeah, exactly.
And when he's making the joke about like, ooh, that's a boy's bottom half. I'm like, it doesn't matter. There's nothing on the mannequins to differentiate one genital over the other. I know it was supposed to be a funny joke, but I'm like, they're all like Ken dolls.
Yeah.
Does it matter what bottom you put on her? I don't know. Look. Was one a little too beefy? I don't know. Just the whole way he's explaining putting her together. It's just,
it was
dude.
Bizarre.
Bizarre.
Yeah. And I thought, like, another thing that I had forgotten about this is that's where he starts. Is as the mannequin builder.
That's the first scene you see is just him, his face up against hers.
Yeah, just doing his weird thing, and then he's talking to her, dancing with her, just taking it through for her parts.
Mm-hmm.
Then he gets fired for being weird with the mannequin and taking forever.
Yeah. Because
And
you're
then-
supposed to be doing 4 or 5 of these a day, not a month, you know.
Right. But, you know, he has to be the true artist, the artista that he is.
Yeah.
And that's
Which
it. Takes time.
a problem.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
So he gets fired. Then he
Yeah.
takes his artistness through
Elsewhere.
elsewhere
After other
through other jobs, and of course it just fails miserably whenever. And it kind of made you wonder.
The trimming of the bushes, like, are we sure person wouldn't have liked that? Because, I mean, that's a fun shape.
Sure.
Did we even ask the owner if, like, hey, he's actually making art out here. This is better than just a square bush, but whatever.
Yeah,
Fine.
well, you
I know he's just got to keep getting fired so we can see that he just can't hold down a job.
Which is a weird conceit. So is he just, because he's an artist and a very...
Everything's got to be perfect.
Yeah, it's just got to be his own weird way. Like, they're really selling this weird artist angle, which again, it does kind of work when you think about it, because it is kind of fucking weird.
It is. And then supposedly, you know, you'd be this genius, and people forgive a lot of weird things from geniuses. I've heard throughout time. They're like, yeah, he might have had a little this, that, or the other, but my God, look at the painting. You know, it's just like,
Sure.
okay, we forgive a lot. More than we should.
So yeah, he has a girlfriend who, you know,
Roz.
kind of
Roz,
makes
right?
Roxy.
Roxy.
And again, this kind of makes you wonder. So is he just amazing in other avenues because she watches him get fired constantly?
Mm-hmm.
She puts up with his eccentricities.
I mean, yeah.
She had no
Maybe he's
problem
like-
with him up until this one moment in time.
Yeah, this last job was the final straw, right? Like,
yeah.
you know, what was it? The last one was pizza or something. Like, he was just taking too long, making sure all of the pizza toppings were just like perfected all the way around it. He's like, let me guess, I'm fired. I'll get my paycheck. I'm like, well, duh.
Yeah. What
Sir.
were you doing?
Sir, have you never had a pizza come to you in 30 minutes or less? Like, how long did it take you just to put that pepper on? Yes, you're getting fired. Move it along.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, man.
Nobody cares what their pizza looks like as long as it's not like smushed or like come upside down in the thing. They don't care.
No. So the fact she's put up with him was bizarre. And then, of course, he goes back to the shop, or at least he's passing by when his motorcycle happens to just
Of course it
have an
dies.
issue. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he sees his beautiful creation in the window, and he's just like, oh my God, you're the only thing that made me feel,
He just like jumps off the bus.
oh my God. Like he'd
Smushes up against the window. Like, dude.
break it down if he could, I think, you know.
He was already in love with her too much.
Way too much.
Way too much. Yeah. He's like, it was almost like out of a romantic comedy, you know, and they're just like smushed up against the window and they're both on either side and they just want to like touch each other. So it's just like their hands put up on the glass or something. I'm just like, whoa. Why did I not remember you were this crazy about when it was still just plastic?
And okay, so here's the other thing too that we didn't, another little thread that we didn't seem to follow is within that moment, like within that scene, he's telling her, confessing, you're the first thing that made me feel like a true artist.
Yeah.
What else have you done?
That's what my question was
Okay.
going to be to him. Like, Sarah, can I see what else you've done?
Yeah, have you been like struggling as an artist? Like have you sold things around town, statues, models, paintings, anything?
Anything? Any kind of sculpture? I don't know. Something.
Because I'm concerned. You know, he has this artist brain, and yet this is the best thing you've ever done.
Maybe it was just the first thing he'd ever done and just didn't mention that.
Maybe.
I would rather admit it was the first thing than the best thing.
Okay. Fair.
Personally. But I don't know. You know, he's weird. We've already established this. His character's weird.
So, as fate would have it, the next day, he happens to be passing by the store yet again. In his search for a job. And that's when he bumps into the owner of said
Well,
store.
let's be clear. I think he wanted the job there because his mannequin was there. Let's just make sure we understand how weird it really is.
We're very aware.
He's coming back to the store. He wants to work there because his mannequin got sold to there, I guess, or whatever, and he wants to be near it.
Yeah. How did that even come into play? Because he did not approach her immediately, did he? Or
no, he was like walking by. This whole thing was so contrived, it was ridiculous. Because like I still don't even understand why that would have been the play. Like, oh, I got that. No, you don't got that. What are you? Who are you? You're small. Like anyway. So yeah, I think he was just walking by as she was getting out. Estelle Getty, by the way, love her. Just made me smile as soon as she got out. And it was a new sign that was getting put up for 100th anniversary for the store, Prince and whatever it's called now. I can't remember. And she's like, hey, it needs to go a little to the left or whatever. And then the rope breaks. And so this huge sign starts to swing down like a pendulum. And his character's like, oh, I got it. And he pushes her out of the way, of course, to like save her life, but then jumps on the sign.
Yeah. Like he's going to weigh it down.
He's just swinging with the sign. And I'm like, well, maybe it was supposed to be a fun looking scene, camera angle wise, and hilarious that he gets electrocuted in the butt from something. Why is there just an exposed wire now? Like, I have questions. There's so many questions, but he got the job.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that is one hell of an interview.
But now, to be fair, now that I'm thinking about it, wasn't there a subplot with that perhaps that was maybe a sabotage thing from the other company, the Illustra Corporation?
Oh, I don't know if I made the connection with the sign. I know as the movie progressed, sure, but maybe I didn't even think about that early yet.
I think that might have been a detail that I just now remembered. Because I was the same as you. I was like, what was it? Like, yeah, like you said, so contrived. But even still, he's there. Okay, so the fact that he even shows up at that exact point in time as all this was happening, just plot convenience, whatever.
Plot armor, yeah.
Yeah, because now she's like, what can I do for you? And he's like, I want a job. And she's like, well, I'm going to make you the head of this thing. And you can do that. Well, no, at first it was
Stock boy.
Yeah, I'm going to hand you off to this guy. He's going to get you a job. He hands him the stock boy job. But then in great 80s movies fashion, you do one good thing and then suddenly you're just going up the corporate ladder.
Yeah, you're just doing your own thing. Well, he was looking for his mannequin.
That's true.
And we also, I can't remember the last time I'd really remembered seeing James Spader also.
Oh my God.
Like it's just when he popped up, I was like, oh my God, I forgot about this version of him, this 80s version of him that was just, it was phenomenal to watch all over again.
The ultra yuppie. Oh God.
Slicked hair, just slimy. Yeah. Oh.
Just the most uppity, yuppie 80s fucking guy, and Spader's just eating it up, man.
He did it so well. It was, I mean, for what you can call any of the acting of this movie, okay? We've all just got to step back a little bit. I feel this was just for funsies for a lot of people because it was so ridiculous. Because we have big name actors, even for their time.
Yeah.
In 87, 88?
86.
86, okay. So yeah, Andrew, hot.
87.
Was Kim Cattrall very hot yet? She had to be, right?
Yeah.
Or was she just
87?
Coming into
I'm sorry. It was 87. And yeah, Kim Cattrall would have been on fire at that point too, because she'd have been quite a few things at this point.
And I mean, gorgeous. Fucking, oh my God. Still to this day, but just oh my, there's just something about her look that just,
yeah, I fell in love with her.
So amazingly beautiful.
I remember seeing her in Police Academy, and then of course, when I saw her face in this, I was like, yeah, I sold, done.
Love it. And I mean, good on you, Andrew, too. You get to be in a scene with Kim Cattrall. Come on.
Anyway,
come on. So great. But yes, anyway, sorry. Just had to say that, James Spader, this beautiful, beautiful character.
Yeah. Just marmy, squirmy, slimy, like you said. Just meh.
Yep.
And so, yeah, he gives him a job as a mail boy because
Oh, okay, that was-
what are your qualifications, sir? I mean, I just don't know what can I do for you, sir?
Yeah. He didn't even know either.
Yeah.
Like,
So he
well,
just chucks him in the mailroom, which was fine. He just wanted it in the building.
he just needs a paycheck.
Yeah, he didn't care. So yeah, he starts searching around, but then we get introduced to another returning face for our show, honestly, because I feel like this is like the third time we brought him up over the past few weeks. G.W. Bailey returns playing the captain, if you will,
Oh my God.
security
What a
guard.
security guard. Yeah. You know, I was thinking, like, did we just see him? And you're right.
And we did.
But it was such a different character. Well, yeah, it was a pretty different character, but
Different-
same energy.
Different in the sense, because I did notice that. So he starts off almost like he's trying to kind of get back into the mode of a Schroeder or a Captain Harris or something like that. But I felt like he devolved. Like when you first see him, you're like, oh, here's the Harris
He
character.
got dumber.
Yeah, and then by the end, he just seemed like he's like, oh, dopey, dopey, dope. You know, like he's just the idiot
Maybe
sidekick.
we're supposed to believe that that was the journey his brain finally took to breaking. Because, like, if you look at all of the stuff that I guess had happened to him up until that point when he's approached for, you know, with the luster and all that. But maybe that was the progression. He's just lost his mind more as all of this happened.
I might actually have to agree with that, and I want to jump ahead too, but where he left off, like his last scene, his brain was broken.
It broke. It snapped. We're done. You know?
Yeah. So
And rightfully so, really. But, you know.
So Felix and his dog Rambo, you know.
Rambo.
He's gonna. What was it? I call him Rambo because he draws first blood.
First blood.
Yeah. It's like, all right.
Oh, God. Good job.
He starts eyeballing him, trying to keep an eye on him, and then Jonathan, he does find her, and I think in that moment, or he goes back.
Well,
off
he's
into
going through. We have to have this moment, of course, of like a little yakety sax. I'm going into the wrong places, and So he's opening up doors to all the windows, so he could see if he find his mannequin in one of the windows. And, you know, of course, walks in on a woman changing, doesn't even say sorry. You know, it was just such a funny thing in the 80s to constantly just use women this way.
Oh.
And I know it was probably happening for sure, you know, but it's just like now that I'm revisiting these 80s movies, it's wow, we really loved to do that to the women characters. They were going to get hit on the whole time. They're going to be objects the whole time. Jesus H. Christ.
I want to talk about that prick that was with Roxy at that other company.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
how he just
Look,
was forcing himself on her like a big fucking creep.
Full on creep. Like he wasn't even trying to make innuendo. It was just straight up, I'm going to screw you if you let me. There was no, I'm going to fondle you. I'm going to be on you. There's no HR.
Like, I'm really surprised he didn't just whip his dick out and just be like, here.
He tried to later, if you remember, because the line was awful, but it made me laugh. Like if David said that to me, I'd probably like, okay. Just because it was so hilarious, where I'm just like, you know what?
But in that regard,
it was not good.
I'm
putting that out there.
between spouses, okay. I think that's it's a fun because I've done that. You know, you think of the most vile thing to say, but you're doing it playfully. But again, it's a spousal thing.
That's
fair.
fair.
You know the jokes that you can make with your significant other.
Sure, no, that's fair.
Yeah.
Out of a stranger, I might have laughed, but I still might have to slap them. Like, you know what? That's a good line, but fuck you.
And I'm glad they at least had her fight back and wasn't just like, ew, gosh, go away. Like, she punched him at one point, and I was like, good. Damn it.
Because he was, he just would not stop touching her or being on her or making the innuendo. Yeah. So very, very, very over the top.
Yeah, God. Just too much as far as I'm concerned. Anyway. Yeah, so around this time, as he's trying to find Emmy, and then he finally gets her, and he I guess, is doing whatever. Because he had the job as the goddamn.
He did like mail, and then it was like stock room, and then when he finally found the mannequin was when he ran into Hollywood.
Right, and then between the two of them, That's when they create the
hijinks
window
start to ensue. Yeah.
thing. But yeah, he's Hollywood.
Another
Okay,
very
so
cliche portrayal.
Hollywood Montrose is one of the most cliched gay archetyped character. If you think of those archetypes, this is it.
Yes.
Like over the
very
top.
Flamboyant.
Oh
Very,
yes.
Yeah.
Everything has to be like, oh, just
so
everything.
dramatic.
And look, I love what Meshack Taylor's bringing here for a character. I love him as an actor, like designing women all day long.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Like, what was his character name? I know
you're
it.
asking me to remember a name. That's hilarious.
His
I'm going
name
to IMDb.
was. Come on. We got this.
I know I should play it like we were back in the 80s. Like we would just have to think of it on our own, but I'm probably not.
No.
I can barely remember the women's names in it.
Anthony.
Okay. Yes. I was still trying to find it. He's got such a lot of gigs, this man.
He was a working actor around this time. Seemed to really blow up about that point where he comes into this character. And it's just, like we said, over the top crazy. I don't find him like an offensive type character. It's just...
I mean, I don't, but I'm probably not the one to ask. But
sure, right.
In my head, I just kind of knew, like, we have to understand this is just kind of a caricature of this stereotype type thing, because I mean, nothing about the movie's real. Like, so it was kind of hard for me to pull that thread apart when we have a mannequin from ancient Egypt coming to life. Like, I'm just
exactly
which thing do I need to get mad at here? I don't, we also have a man sexually harassing a woman in every scene he's with her in. So like, priorities, I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
there's a lot.
There's a lot wrong here. There's a lot wrong here.
So
but yes,
he
made me laugh though.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't feel like just a very obtrusive character, I guess. Like, I didn't want him to go away. He wasn't annoying or grating like it could have been.
Yeah,
it was a.
But they used him in the right moments.
Yes.
I feel like at least they knew where to draw the line.
But certain cliches.
Sort of.
Certain cliches. Anyway,
I'm very happy, though. They did have a moment where Jonathan stood up for him. Like, very progressive, I would say, for, like, an 80s movie, Because Felix, the security guard, as they were talking in that scene you were mentioning where they just met and do you work here? And he's trying to exert that he's the security guard or whatever.
Mr. Richards told me all about you. I am Captain Felix Maxwell, Night Security Commander. My responsibility to secure the perimeter here at Prince and Company.
I didn't know there was danger of invasion.
There's no danger of nothing as long as me and Rambo are on patrol.
Rambo?
Yeah. I call him that because he likes to draw first blood. Just what is your assignment here tonight, boy?
I'm helping Hollywood with the window.
Oh, the little Mary has an assistant now, huh? Where do you people come from?
Ohio.
Ohio? You mean they got him in Ohio? So, you like your new assignment?
Could have been worse. Could have put me on with a bigoted jerk.
Hold it there, boy. Did you have anybody particular in mind? You think he meant anybody in particular, Rambo?
Yeah, I was really surprised by that too. Yeah, because it was it almost felt like because I can't remember what it was either. It wasn't like
He was definitely calling him like Fruity or one of those like
one of those
names that they would use.
Not one of the overly offensive ones, but still one of those just like.
Well, and somebody called him a fairy at one point too.
I think that might have been
that's what I was just like, whoa, I can't even remember the last time I've heard anyone. Well, maybe in the 80s that try that word or whatever. But
no,
yeah,
it was Roxy that called him that. I remember that completely.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because she was just like, "What are you doing, hanging out in the store all day with this mannequin and this fairy?"
Oh, that's where it was. Okay.
No.
I mean, it's like, what happened to you, Jonathan? We broke up and.
Now I just want you back for some weird reason, even though I didn't.
Because of her career. So she's not
Oh, yeah,
great
for
either.
her career,
Yeah, she
yeah.
wanted to advance her career. We're all over the place.
Yeah. Well, all right. So let's focus up for a second because we did kind of get. All right. So around this time, after he met Hollywood,
Met Hollywood is where we were. Yeah.
this is where Emmy comes to life. So, and of course he goes like, I'm having a fucking mental breakdown.
It was the most sincere reaction.
As you should think at that point.
She comes to life and he just like falls back into the window getting, that's an appropriate reaction
Yeah.
to a mannequin coming to life.
And then, of course, when, someone walks into the room, she's back to being a mannequin. So then you would literally think, oh, God, I'm having...
I've lost it.
Yeah, I'm having a stroke or whatever.
Right.
Something's wrong.
Something is not right. Yes.
So within this moment, they create some new window thing or whatever, but we're not really privy to that in the moment. In the moment, we're just like, oh, she's alive. She wants to learn about all the things that you were kind of talking about, like being impressed with music and whatever the shit that they're trying to do.
Yeah.
They're just enjoying life,
Well, in the store.
in the store, within the
Right.
context of the store.
Yeah.
And then,
I'm telling you, if that was supposed to be one evening, holy crap.
yeah, they
Am I
did a lot.
supposed to believe they did all that in one evening? Like they're dressing up in costumes and they're running around the store pretending to be in a band or dancing or what. Like I was like, damn, that's an exhausting evening. I'm sorry. I would
Yeah.
be so tired. Like I don't care how old I was. Like by the time we got to the elevator, I'm just like, you know what? Can I go to bed? Like it's probably 4 a.m. for all I know.
Sure, yeah.
It's well past my bedtime, sir, ma'am, whichever is keeping me up.
So within this amazing evening that they had that took all damn night, had to have, they create a new window display for the store. And then, of course, everybody's just like,
Such a crowd on the street. Yeah.
Was that a thing? Is that a thing?
You know what?
I don't know.
I would imagine probably, if I could remember the name of one of those big stores, like a Macy's or something back in the day, probably had really good window dressing that people would probably come see, like how they would do like the tree in Times Square or something. Now, do I know that it was to this extent where they're basically blocking all traffic to like, oh, look at that. I don't know.
And it makes you wonder who stands at the window for an extended period that you're blocking the street. It's like, I got a good look at it. I observed it. I'm going to move on.
It's something else to do with the rest of my day. And you notice it was always like the same people.
Yeah.
There's always the same people who are enamored with it. Never going into the store, which is probably what you need. Go spend money in the store. And also, am I expected to believe he was doing this every night? Like a new window every night? Or am I supposed to just, okay, maybe it was every weekend? Because I feel like it was every night they're expecting these, like, they built a bus.
Yeah.
The front end of a bus to go on the side of the, where are you in a...
I don't know.
For a woman who come from Egypt, she's really good at all this electricity and hooking all these mechanical things up, and the photographer one.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Just had the guy anyway. But yes, he's making these beautiful windows that's stopping traffic, and Estelle Getty's character's over the moon because all these people are paying attention to their store.
Yep.
But the evil man, twisting his mustachio
Ooh.
at a lustra, does not like that they have a good window that people like to see.
Which is why. Now this guy, I swear to God, he's another one of these faces that just came out of the 80s. Always some prick, always some highfalutin.
You got typecast bad back in the day, I think.
Yeah. He was either, I felt like corporate executive types early on is what he kind of had, that sense of very much like this role. Like this was his thing.
Yeah.
And as soon as I saw his face, it was like, oh yeah, that guy.
I remember this guy. Yeah.
This prick. Why he's upset at my window display, I don't know. But yes.
Well, because it's bringing them money. He wanted to buy.
But again,
I can't remember the name of the store for like 10% because I don't even know if we know. Spader's character is like, he's playing them both. He works at Prince and something or whatever, but working with the guy at Illustra so they could sell it real cheap.
Yeah.
Like for 10% or something. So now this window, it's just raising the value of the store so much.
I guess.
That it's driving him crazy. He needs to hire him to do the windows at their store.
Because, again, now, granted, I might not be the audience for this, but I am not going to go to, like, there's nothing about a window display in a store with the clothes and the mannequins that's going to make me go, I need to go in the store.
I need to go into there. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I probably walked by a shop and saw some clothing like hanging in the window. I was like, ooh, and I might go in to see if they have it in my size, but it's usually always at one of those tiny people places where like the largest size is like a 4.
Sure.
And I'm just like, well, that's like my left leg, so it's never going to work, right? So that maybe, but not because it was just so mechanically amazing, It's just like, oh, I like that shirt. Probably what the mannequin's supposed to do. Make
I'm
me want
sure.
to buy
Yeah.
it. But you're right. To your point, though. No.
I mean, it's just not me, but I guess I can understand where this could lead to people coming in and giving them more business. It's not going to work on me.
No.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, here, so I guess it's throwing them off. They're trying to figure out like, what can we do? We're just going to lure him back. Meanwhile, he gets a promotion. Now he's like head of visual merchandising, whatever the fuck that is.
He didn't even know. I don't think Claire knew either. Just
no. It was like, now this is the thing that you're going to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And of course, he's just like, Amy, you're my muse. His muse. Yeah, see. That's what it is.
But if you think about it, I think she's the one doing it.
Is
he even really coming up with these? Because the first couple nights, he was even shocked, right? Because he's like, I didn't do that. So I'm led to believe she did all of that on her own.
Which, again, goes back to, is he an artist?
Right? Right?
You didn't do any of this. You were just...
Nope.
Either you did it or you didn't, dude. Are you an artist or aren't you?
Right. You guys are spending all night dancing and dressing around, and then I'm expected to believe you put this thing together like right before dawn.
Yeah, it just...
Sure. Look, guys, you need to know how time works a little. I know I'm bad with how time works. Trust. I don't understand it myself most days, but that doesn't work, I don't think.
Yeah.
You got to hook up a lot of things.
And then, okay, as his star begins to rise in this company, okay, remember we did this whole montage of displays and things, like they're just working it out. Look at them, look how awesome they are.
Great.
And then other employees of said store see him walking around with the mannequin.
Oh my God, I almost forgot about that.
Going into these back rooms. And then they all look at each other like, what are they going to do? And it's like, he's going to a back room with a mannequin.
Uh-huh. And like not even shy anymore about carrying her under his arm all over the place. Like, this is just what I do is date my mannequin.
And they're okay with it.
Well, that's just the weird artiste in him, right?
I guess. Because
like the way Hollywood was just so okay with it was just brilliant, though, where he's just like, I am overlooking this because of your artiste. And he was not, I'm telling you straight up, this is weird. I don't know what you're doing here, but help me,
But you know what? At least he said, hey, who am I to judge? That was pretty much what he was. I know I'm kind of fucking weird. I don't give a damn. You do you.
Yeah, maybe I'm the most normal one in this place now.
Could be.
Like I'm not screwing plastic. But here's another thing, too, because they all like to listen at the door. Did they never hear her? Did they just believe now all of a sudden he's just good at pitching and throwing voices or whatever? Because you can hear her talking.
Well, depends, I guess, on how the rules work. Because they say as they are unobserved, she is a man or not a mannequin, but it would listening in be observing them. So would that?
But she was still having the conversation. Like we didn't see her turning into a mannequin when they like their ears went to the door. I know it's probably a plot hole, but like
it would have to be because think about it. So if they could not observe her as a human, then therefore hearing her voice would be observing her.
You would think.
So he would know that someone's listening in because she would immediately turn back into a mannequin. He'd be mid-conversation and she'd just be like, right?
Right. I would feel like that would be very difficult. Like you'd have to take her elsewhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I don't know, a private office or some soundproof room. And then now it gets even weirder. Like, hey, he's got to have his soundproof room in the back here for his
weirder.
his genius.
Weirder. Think about this for a moment. They had sex at one point in this movie. We know they did.
At least once.
At least
Probably
once.
several times, but at least once, yes.
At least once that we know of. What if they were mid-coitus as someone walked in? What happens to his...
I was just gonna... What is it? Ooh, now those are the hard questions.
Now,
yeah,
is
where
his
it
dick
now?
stuck in between a big hole
For like-
in plastic?
You have to leave for just like 2 minutes, maybe.
Ah! Does it cut it off? Does it
Just
wrap
turn
around
around
it?
at least
What
for a minute.
happens?
Turn around. Ooh, God, that's like a boys now situation, like the boys, you know. Ooh. I don't know if we should think about that one too hard. I don't know. Because
Raises
question. It does, because I mean, Hollywood walked straight in there. What if it could have happened?
Or his tongue halfway in her mouth. You know?
But would that prove anything? Be like, see, I told you when you look, she turns plastic, but see, how would any human get stuck? How would any human get stuck like that?
Oh, my God. Okay, I'm sorry. I wanted to bring this up beforehand, but I got to bring this up now because you made me remember it, okay?
Okay.
Not related in any way, but in the vein of the decade for whatever reason. All right, so I've been watching this documentary on Amazon. It's about RoboCop. It's called RoboDoc. It's like a 4-part documentary. Each episode's about 4 hours, or not 4 hours. It's about a 4-hour documentary if you break it down into the episodes.
Okay.
Anyway, I was watching it last night, finishing it up, and you know how in documentaries they do these things every now and again where people are having those kind of look backs about things, just like, yeah, it was a fun time, you know, it was family, whatever, and they show these pictures of people with their arms around each other, they're having those faces.
Yeah.
You see it in all these documentaries, right? You know exactly what I'm talking about. So they were doing one of those moments in this documentary, and they showed this one shot. 2 guys had their arms around one another. So these guys talking about there. He's like, yeah, it was such a great experience. You know, we loved each other. It was so great. And then as he's saying these words, they go from that shot of the arms around one another to a shot of Paul McCrane in that movie where his skin is melting off and his face is just like, ah.
RoboCop was a miracle. It was the right people at the right time coming together to make something different.
So it's just an odd juxtaposition from that one shot to that shot. And I lost it.
Editor was not paying attention, maybe?
I guess not. It caught me off guard. Wholesome. Anyway, yeah, sorry.
Like how weird it gets really quickly is what you were, Because no, it does. Like, yeah, they're in the bathroom. They're kissing. Hollywood walks in,
and he's just like, "It's cool. It's cool."
He does not care even one. Like, you know what? Friends goals. I'm not judging you, man. I'm not judging you.
Nope.
But did no one even stop to think like how even her facial expression would change? So all of a sudden now her eyes were shut. They're painted on. Like, I feel like even other humans would be, wait a minute, how is she getting in all of these different positions?
Yeah.
So quickly. Like, how does her back arch that way? You know, when she was leaning forward or whatever. Or like, come on, guys. Like, you got to think there's some witchcraft going on here somewhere, I would think. Nobody's paying attention. They're just like, dude, well, I don't know. Could you look past the fact you know a guy who's open with his relationship and with his mannequin? Like maybe you wouldn't notice some of that other stuff because you're kind of like, maybe I don't talk to this guy a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
But we'll listen in because it's hilarious. No, it was that woman who said it, now that I'm thinking about it, because they were like, ooh, what's going on in here? And they're like, who's talking? And they're like, well, it's either Jonathan, the fairy, or the dummy.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, like there's a joke.
And so it was around that
the
time
dummy.
too, wasn't it? That
They were listening at the door. I think it was right when Hollywood went in because he was like, he wanted him to take him under his wing. Like, please, your artiste is so beautiful. Let me observe you. And he's like, I can't. I have to do it by myself. I told you it's just me and her. And he's like, okay, you know, but can't I just watch? You're a genius, you know. You're watching it, sir. You're watching the genius right now. You walked in on the genius.
I mean, there's no other way around it.
Yeah. This is what I'm doing.
So it was around this time, I think, that Roxy comes back into the picture trying to poach Jonathan back for Illustra, or is it Illustra?
Illustra? I think so. The competing store.
It sounds like that oil they used in chips that gave everybody the shits. Illustra. Anyway, yeah, so she's trying to worm him in. I guess she takes him out for. Does she take him out?
Yeah, she's like gonna wine and dine him, I guess. But you know, it didn't get very far. He shows up to the restaurant, which, you know, we had to have another little fun moment of he used to work there. And got fired because he like flambéed the restaurant or, you know, something. He's just your very typical clumsy man, unless he's making a mannequin.
I guess. You know, just keep him away from every other job except
just
doing shit with mannequins. So, yeah, they go there. That turns into a whole thing. He pretty much says, you know,
go beat rocks.
Yeah, realizes what's happening, that they're trying to just lure. He's like, no, I got friends. And when he said this, he has friends because,
well, 2-ish.
Hollywood. And maybe the head of the store.
Like Claire Estelle's character.
Yeah, three people at most. He made it sound
plural,
like
though.
He made it sound like there were so many people at the store.
My family.
I have friends now.
You were my friend.
I know 3's a lot, but it is
a lot.
The way he made it sound.
Yeah, no, you're
you
right.
know, it made it sound like it wasn't, you know, there are a few people who care about me. It's like, no, I have friends, everybody at the store. I don't know. It just came off
jealous.
Like a big deal. So what happened? I was trying to remember the scene because there was something that happened in between that moment and the moment where Claire had fired Felix and what's his name?
I think that's when it got started. Well, I think there's like a bunch of little in between because they have the dinner. He denies whatever it is she's selling, you know, and she just couldn't believe it. She was beside herself. And when she goes back, I think, and I don't remember how long in between it was, but they realized that they needed to get the mannequin.
Yeah.
So they were head Illustra guy, Roxy, and I don't remember, walking sexual harassment man.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name.
That guy.
They decide they're going to steal the mannequin. And that's when, it was when she decides to fly. So they're having another one of their fun little evenings in the mall. And there's like what do you call it? A paraglider or parasailer or whatever that's at the top of the mall for whatever reason. That doesn't work like that at all, by the way. The way she floated down. Like that's just, I know, again, we're talking about a movie where a mannequin comes to life. But again, that's just not how air works and all of that anyway. So
they took a lot of liberties on what
really
things could do.
They really did.
It's like they literally said the same shit you just did. It's like, you know what? Fuck it. Who cares? We're doing a movie about a mannequin.
We're making, guys.
Yeah.
Look at what we're making.
Anyway, sorry.
Of course she can float down in this thing. And I think the parasailer is really funny because it had that whole thing that like a sling, I guess, that her whole body was in. How are you going to land?
Yeah.
What was the plan? Anyway, so she floats in this perfect circle from the top of the mall down to the bottom in this paraglider and runs into Felix, who's the security, and they like destroy a stand or, you know, display. And he's caught there the next day still napping. And then she fires him because, you know, what are you doing? And you need to leave my Jonathan alone. And you know. And then now they want to steal the mannequin because they feel they could bribe him into working from Illustra if they take the mannequin.
Yeah.
So they all go, they hire Felix because he's the only one who would know what mannequin they need to steal, supposedly, you know. So we have that whole moment.
He remembered faces, like he's got that facial recognition memory or whatever.
I will remember which mannequin we need, sir.
And yes, he becomes vice president of the fucking company.
Yes.
Jonathan.
For what? He made a good window, you guys.
Yeah, deeply impressed with his work. You know, just you are now VP of the company. These amazing promotions that happen in these movies, I swear to God.
I swear. And you're like, you were already about to sell because you're going out of business, basically. But his windows turned that around. Because if you I don't know if you even caught this when he was first getting angry about how the store was starting to make money again, the dude who wanted to buy it from Illustra at 10%, you know?
Yeah.
He's like, our profits have dropped 89%. He throws papers and I'm like, 89%, sir. Like, you are over now.
Holy shit. I'm trying to remember what it is. I remember that scene because it made me laugh. There was a transition within that scene. What was it? Because it was like the setup. It was so cliched. God damn it. I can't remember. But it was like there was something before that. And then I knew it was going to transition to, I can't believe this shit. And then it was just like, oh, our profits are down. Bah, bah, bah. Oh my God. I wish I could remember what the...
I don't. I'm sorry. I just remembered him saying 89%. And I'm like, holy crap. Because again, I guess I'm supposed to believe this has been a week.
Or something, yeah.
And that Jonathan's windows have been so amazing that nobody's coming to your store ever again. Like, I don't know, man. You're out of business already if you're working off of 11% profits. Anyway, but that's, Then they decide they're going to steal the mannequin and hire him to go, I don't know, break into the store overnight, I guess, and steal the mannequin.
And before we even get there, we didn't even touch on the again, this man is... He's not right in the head. A mannequin riding with him on a motorcycle through the city.
Oh my God. Well, I think this was the same evening because I think that's why they didn't find the mannequin that night because he was like off gallivanting with it behind him.
And then they eventually spot him and chase him. Okay, because this didn't even make sense either. Okay,
none of it made sense. It's a mannequin for crying out loud. Why are you driving like this? Like he's driving like we're trying to chase some terrorist through the streets.
And then we would have these intercut bits where you could see that Emmy is alive, and then she's not, and then she is, and then she's not. So, are we to believe that as they're going through this crowded city, nobody's seeing this?
Nobody
shit?
sees her. Nobody saw her at all. I was wondering that too. I'm like, there's gotta be somebody going, is that a guy riding with a mannequin? You know, like you're gonna have a lot of eyes.
Yeah. So here's where I was just like, what the fuck? Okay, so they chase them down an alleyway and they do this big jump with the car, and the car gets stuck in between two buildings.
Two buildings. Perfectly. Yep.
How did they get out?
Oh, I would imagine a Jaws of Life situation had to come by and, help them. I guess break the windshield, crawl out, because there's no opening the doors. There's no. You're right there.
Okay, so if that is the situation, then you feel like that would require a phone call. That would require waiting for them to get there, waiting for all this shit to happen to get out of said car. And then explain the situation to the police. A whole lot of paperwork, a whole lot of conversations. But this seemed like they snuck out of that car somehow because they caught up with Jonathan pretty quickly after that. So I was just like, okay.
Well, I thought it was funny that they were managing to keep up with him at all because he ran into everything with his car, other cars. Buildings, whatever, and Jonathan was just straight through. So there should have been no reason for him to still have been on their ass at all.
No.
Even before he got stuck in the alleyway up top, really high, by the way. It wasn't like he was stuck on the ground. They were like 12 feet up.
Yeah.
Stuck in the air in
Something
the alley.
like that.
Yeah. So that was kind of funny. But yeah, again, either that they drilled a hole, they climbed out the trunk. I don't know. But they got out and apparently survived the fall.
Somehow.
And didn't break any. I mean, they could survive it, sure, but didn't break a leg or, something.
Twist anything.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I probably would have broken all of my bones. I know it's not that far of a drop. I probably should have just held on to the back. And then if I lay myself flat like this, it's probably like a 6-foot drop, right? And you should be okay. But it would still hurt a little, I think. Anyway, not the point. But yeah, I don't know how he got out so quickly and back to the store. Because that evening that they were doing the whole like trying to find the mannequin was where he said like the best line ever. It's like, so as they're looking for the mannequin, right? So we've got him, he's back in there and they're looking at each window. And now all of a sudden Felix is like, I actually don't know what the mannequin looks like. And they just start taking all of the mannequins, and Roxy and Dude was in there and they're like crawling on the floor, like trying to be all discreet. And, he's hitting on her again or whatever. And she slaps him and he reaches. Okay. Sorry, you guys. I know, again, I don't condone this, but he reaches for his belt and he looks at her and he's like, would you like to try on something in your size? And I'm sorry, I died. Like the line was just too good. I know it's not right, but hats off to whoever wrote that line. Sorry. And she just slapped him and walked away. And then apparently, I guess it worked because later on, when they're fighting with Jonathan outside with the mannequin again, he tries to hit on her and she just says, fine, let's go before I change my mind. I'm like, oh, that's all it took.
He wore her down.
You wore her down. Okay.
I don't know if we want to condone that, but
no. But that was her choice to make.
Yeah.
And it did not work out for either of them in the long run anyway. But yeah, sorry. That line was too good.
Sure.
A little insight into my humor. Okay. But yeah, so they've stolen all of the female mannequins basically at this point, except for the 2 that was in the room that Hollywood was telling him they stole all of the female mannequins from.
Right.
Because I thought that was hilarious. They go into the window. He's like, they've stolen all of them. And there's literally like 2 right there. I'm like, but except for the 2 behind you, I guess. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Anyway.
So yeah, they are collecting all those mannequins. Where was the big chase at? Was that around this time where Jonathan was running from all the security guards?
Yeah. I think. Oh, yes. Well, no, I think it was the next day. So okay. Maybe you're right. After he told them all the mannequins were gone, he's like, it has to be Illustra that stole them. So this is happening at that store when he's going back. Like, what did you do with the Roxy? Where is she?
Okay, so this might have been like, he goes there to try and confront them about it. There was like the chase scene in the mall. Yeah, I wanted to talk about that too, because
another very contrived moment, because like you shouldn't have still been on him. I don't know.
And there were so many guards. How many fucking guards do you have in this mall? Jesus Christ.
Right? It's like they called in all of the police too or something, because there was a good 20, 30 of them. I don't know.
Yeah, way too many for this one dude.
Many.
Okay.
And for one store even, you're right. Like, I don't care how big, well, maybe not the whole store. I don't know. It looked pretty big. But yeah, for one guy, I don't know. But he beat him.
Yeah, he did.
He maneuvered through everywhere and got caught in displays, and they had the whole moment.
It just seemed like a lot.
It was a lot.
They got. So this had to have been around the same spot where he was trying to save Emmy.
Yes, because Roxy got mad. She's like, "You're never going to see her again," and she takes off.
Right.
Because she's going to go get the mannequin, and he's now chasing after Roxy.
And then,
so that's why we're having the chase.
The guard, yes. Okay, so the guards are after him. He's chasing her. Mm-hmm. Police come in. All that goes into like a big storage area. They start chucking the mannequins into this, was it like a compactor or something like that?
Yeah, she's putting it in a compactor. She's going to destroy them all. She's like, I've had it with your nonsense, Jonathan. I'm destroying the mannequin. Come back to the human world,
And then he goes after the mannequin. The mannequin's going up the conveyor. He grabs it and saves it. But then
you forgot like Meshack doing the whole with the water gun or the fire hose. That's how he keeps them at bay for I don't know how long. But he's just squirting them with this fire. The whole time he's doing it, they're just falling all over themselves and just like, oh my God.
Okay, I had a realization in this moment too. there were moments like this throughout this movie, and I'm trying to visualize the mindset of a person in that point in time, okay? Because someone somewhere was sitting in, there could have been a whole theater full of people who saw that scene and was just like, that's the funniest thing. God, look at it. The funniest. Woo! Ha! That was the funniest shit in history.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep. No,
Him
for sure.
spraying them and just saying all his shit and his lines and what have you. I don't know why it bothered me. It didn't bother me. It was just like someone was laughing at this way too hard at one point.
Too hard. Yeah. But yeah. But I mean, and then of course the whole innuendo at the end when it was just like, when it just like flumps, like, oh, well, and then off he runs, with his hands in the air. But yeah.
And then that got twice as many laughs because
of that, but probably with the
just did.
The limpness with his arm was just hilarious or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
So tell me if you noticed this, okay? So Emmy is about to fall into the compactor.
Oh, God.
Now,
yes.
Jonathan's been carrying her under his arm for a remainder of most of this movie.
Most of the movie.
And now he cannot lift her up out of this compactor.
She's just like on the ledge. He's holding her.
And she's
dead
weight.
I feel like, just pick her up.
Yeah, but you carry her under your arm and you can't lift her up.
Right? But her turning human helps you. I feel like now she weighs so much more.
Exactly.
Now she's like full of bone and all of this stuff where I'm just like, and the fact of the matter really is she would have been over the ledge well before he got there because they had showed her going up over it before he hit the door. We would have been too late.
Yeah.
Somehow the conveyor kept resetting itself back to the center or something for plot armor. But yes, so her turning human helped.
I don't understand it either because I was like, this should have been a situation where like, no, don't be human. Go back to a mannequin.
Don't turn human now, please.
It'd be so much easier. Just someone's watching.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden he can only lift 2 pounds or something. I don't know.
Yeah, seems ass backwards, but again, he gets her out, and when he pulls her up, what? She's alive now for everyone to see.
For Rick Moranis Light, who's down there looking for his own
God.
mannequin now.
Was that not super creepy?
All of it's been very creepy. I don't even know if that's the creepiest thing where he's just like, I saw a mannequin come to life. I'm going to start kissing mannequins because I just watched it happen. So it's probably the least creepy thing.
This happens at least 3 times where you see him jumping into trash, humping or trying to kiss a mannequin. Like, we got it, dude. You're obsessed
but we
at this
didn't
point.
even say because Roxy fell in there. So that was going to be the joke.
Yep.
Roxy got buried in a bunch of garbage that got down the chute. So as he's kissing the mannequins, of course, he comes to Roxy and he's like, thank you, God, or whatever. Like he was just gifted a woman.
And then full on attempted rape at that point.
This woman's had a lot of trauma in this movie.
A lot.
She's poor thing.
So, hey, when this is the break I wanted to talk about. So yeah, at the end, everybody's coming in. They're trying to figure out, it's like, what's going on here? Police asking questions.
There he is. Arrest that man. Who's she?
She's who I came for.
She's the dummy! I said arrest that man!
Keep your hands off him.
Claire, thank goodness you're here. These people...
Oh, shut up, BJ. You really screwed up.
Claire, what are you talking about?
When I fired this idiot the other day, I decided to replace him with one of those fancy camera surveillance systems. I have Richards and this moron on videotape. I was sure you were behind this. You greedy snake.
Claire?
I want those 2 arrested for breaking and entering and grand theft, and I'll get you later for conspiracy.
Yeah, and you can add kidnapping to that, too.
Kidnapping? Who?
Me.
Who are you? She's the dummy!
This poor man is having a breakdown.
No! She's the dummy! No! No! She's the dummy!
Don't use force.
Mama!
And he just kept repeating this. It's like, this is where his brain completely broke. Because he couldn't get out anything more than that. And everybody's just like, I don't know what he's talking about. Just take him away.
But how would he even really made the connection? Because he's never seen her alive up until this point, yeah? He'd only seen him rolling around on the ground with her in a bathing suit because reasons.
Now, maybe this is the point in the movie where he actually remembers her face. Because she did look like the mannequin.
Okay. Yeah,
maybe.
Well, sure.
Even though
we
proved earlier that he can't remember faces, so suddenly now he can remember faces.
He was yanking brunette mannequins for crying out loud. She's not brunette. Could you at least remember the hair color?
Yeah.
Her eyes may not have been open, but you can remember her hair.
And then, okay, so
there's a lot.
Especially right here at the end, okay? Yeah. That's just what's really weird. All right, so as all this is happening and the police are getting their answers, Claire shows up and she has security video of Felix and Richard breaking and entering and, doing all the bad stuff. And then, it occurs to Jonathan that perhaps maybe he'd have been spot on. This is, again, being the observed part that I don't understand, that just doesn't add up. This is where the rules get messy.
Unless we're supposed to believe he's the only one who sees her alive. And it's always been a mannequin. So Estelle's just been watching him screw a mannequin in the store for however long now, but he put up good windows. He didn't hurt anybody, I guess, if you really think about it in the end.
He didn't.
He didn't hurt anybody else.
But,
But she's okay with it.
She did.
She is fine. She is fine.
Miss Timken, those video cameras, did they pick up everything last night?
I only saw what I needed to see.
Winka, winka, winka. Like, so are we supposed to believe she went through and edited out now all of his screwing the mannequins? See, it's like now. Okay, look, guys. Because that's what I was led to believe, is that she just figured out how to cut time so nobody sees him with the mannequin.
I want to see an alternate cut of certain things where you have these sexual scenes between Andy McCarthy and Kim Cattrall, the sexiest fucking shit you've ever seen, and then you cut to a security camera and it's just him boop, 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 with a mannequin and just oh my God.
Because that's probably what was really happening.
I know.
Be like, which mannequins is he bringing into the store? Because, maybe in the I'd have to see how advanced in the 80s. Were we still on blow-up dolls? I don't know.
I don't know.
I'd have to see if there was any real ones going on here. But he figured it out regardless.
He did.
And maybe that's how, if she turns into a mannequin, it's fine. I already hollowed it out anyway.
Mm-hmm. So, at the end, everything's great.
Everything's good.
Everything's honky-dory. I'm going to assume he's still VP of the company because outside of that, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
He got a job finally.
Yeah.
He got the job. Everyone seemed fairly happy. He got the girl.
He's married to the mannequin he created that is possessed by the soul of an Egyptian goddess or princess or
whatever she was,
whatever, from hundreds, 1,000 years
before lunch,
at least 2,000 years ago.
Yeah,
so she's
they
older
got married
than him.
in the window.
They got married in the window. It doesn't make sense. I got to this movie and I was like, why did it happen? I don't know. Why did a lot of 80s movies happen? Because look, it was a situation, the why of it all. That's what I'm questioning here. So usually a movie has a point, okay? And it's about two lovers coming together, overcoming obstacles and whatnot. What is the obstacle per se that you're trying to overcome other than just not being alive? What is the message we're trying to say? Is that you wish hard enough for your dream girl, she'll come to life through a mannequin? What is the message we're trying to convey?
Maybe that is all of the 80s movies messaging, because we had Weird Science. Which one was it?
Weird
where
Science,
they're they made their own woman, so all of 80s was just men wondering where they could find women since the real ones weren't hitting on them.
And you wonder
now we
why.
call them incels. I don't know.
You wonder why when you've got guys like Armand, I remembered his name,
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Sexual
Armand.
harassment man. That's
Yeah.
all I could think of. So Armand, yes, when
Is-
you're in a sea of Armands. Yes.
When you have that, why would you want to talk to men if that's all that your experience is, or guys saying like, "Hey, you want to see my dick?"
Yeah.
I wouldn't blame him. I mean, look, hey, look.
I mean, like, I'd rather just be like, that saying, like if you're left on a stranded island or whatever. Yes, by myself completely, than with a stranger that's a dude. Yes, leave me alone completely. I don't know what he's going to do. Or try to make me a mannequin.
It's fucking weird.
It is fucking weird. All of this was weird. And it was interesting going back to it because, I knew it was weird, but you forget how weird.
I really did.
I forgot how weird.
And look, here's the funny part about it for me, okay? This is the other part of it that just cracked me up. Get to the end of this, you're just like, how the fuck? What the fuck? I don't understand this movie. What was I thinking? What was I seeing? I don't understand it. And yet it made enough money to warrant a sequel.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't, you know what? If I watched the sequel, I have happily erased it from my memory. Because I know, what's his name? Jonathan Silver?
Who are you thinking of?
I'll have to look at it because I remembered that actor
Are you
from
talking
a
about?
lot of things in the 80s also.
Oh, William Ragsdale? He was the lead
I
of the
must be
second one.
thinking of someone else. And let me look at his face. I must be thinking of a different actor. I got to look at the dude's face. So On the Move was the second one, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was thinking it was a different person. My bad. That is not who I thought it was.
Gotcha.
William Ragsdale was not who I thought it was. But you have Christy Swanson. She turned out to be swell, didn't she?
Sure.
Which was very sad for me because I was a huge lover. Well, I still am. I can separate the two. Because Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie, oh my God, was I so in love with that. And I have revisited that. And yes, it is still stupid, but it's still lovely.
Okay.
I still love it. I still love it. I mean, I don't know how you don't.
I have wanted to go back
we got the
and watch
series
it.
that's like so different from it was just even more funny. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand how this movie got a sequel and
That I don't know either.
essentially did the same thing, just rejiggered some plot points.
I was just going to say, okay, she's been frozen for 1,000 years. Now it's time to break the ice. So it's a different person who became a mannequin, right? Like I'm not supposed to believe it's the same. Yep, the name's Jesse and Jason. Okay.
And
so is he also a window mannequin person?
Well, I don't know what his deal is, but to my understanding, hers was more about this necklace she wore. So if you take it off, she's human. You put it back on her, she's a mannequin.
That
kind of
sounds like we're on a very bad path.
Yeah, we're already
That's
going
not.
there.
That's already bad for her.
And look, I love this actor, but I have to admit, you see him in a movie, you're just like, Terry Kaiser is the villain in this, and he plays a very smarmy, like just, oh my God.
I had to look up his face, but yes.
He plays he does villains like this a lot in the 80s, and just, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a through line, I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's so bizarre.
It's a movie. It's a movie that was made. I don't know. I might go back and watch the second one now just because I don't know if I could get through it. I mean, at least they were nice, simple, like 90 minutes, so it wasn't taking 4 hours to beat me over the head with. This is before we thought we needed all that time, I guess, to make a whatever the story was. Again, like you said, whatever the point of the movie was or the plot, or I'm guessing just if you want love, you got to look in different places.
I guess I don't really know what else there is.
It's just supposed to be, I think, a romantic comedy of sorts, probably somehow. So it was funny. I don't know if in the way they thought, but it was funny.
It's weird. That's all I can say. I can't.
It is very weird.
I mean, normally all right, so going back to one of the other, because one of the reasons we're talking about this, as we kind of mentioned prior with Short Circuit, is the Brat Pack element of
Yes.
it all, because we were talking about that, and then this just kind of led us down this path.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't...
Not his finest.
No. He's good.
For
He's
what
good
it is.
for what
Yes,
it is.
for what it is. Yes.
He's good for what he's doing. He's playing the part. Strangely,
yeah.
He's a charming, weird guy.
But I guess you had to be someone who would fall for something like this, or like would be in that situation. You had to make him weird. Because why would he chase a mannequin down? So in that regard, he did it beautifully, because I believed the person he was portraying would do that.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
And they did. And they did a lot.
A lot. I'm just, I got nothing. I
can't think of anything else except, they got married at the end. Hollywood married them in their window display thing, and they might still be standing there till this day. I don't know.
We don't know.
And there was no end credit scene because we didn't need that life back then. They were like, we finished the movie. You can go home now.
But we got that song.
We
from
did.
Starship. Like I said, as soon as it started.
I did have to sit there and listen to the whole thing. I do. And then him and I will start singing it, and we take turns. And it's just something about that song. You've just got to stop what you're doing and be in it and be in the moment. And I challenge someone to not. And if you don't, what's wrong with you?
I tell you what.
How do you not?
If I can work it out, it'll be at the end of this episode, and you can listen to it if you don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So.
Well, there could be people, I guess, too young for it. However, this might be one of those movies that's hit or miss, depending, like if you're young enough, like would you have had a parent who would have introduced you to this, or you come across it somehow? I mean, people find out about things in strange ways,
True.
So you could have heard of it. But if this is the first you're hearing of it and you're like a Gen Z or something, I would love to know your thoughts.
Yeah.
Like just a
Please.
peek into 30, 40 years ago, the shit we were putting out as entertainment, And these were big stars.
Yeah.
Big stars, guys. Big stars. I know some of you have to remember at least Kim Cattrall. I mean, because, everyone would be like, oh, yeah, the chick from Sex and the City. Well, she's done so much more.
Yeah.
Trust.
100%.
Trust. I know that's what most people these days probably know her from, but yeah, she's hot item. And I can't believe she's as old as she is either. Like, I want whatever that woman has.
Yeah, she
looks phenomenal.
My ex-wife used to give me hell for liking her. So look
Why?
at you. Because she was older than me. And she's like, you like grannies? I was like, fuck you.
No, I like MILFs. Ugh. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can't get mad at us looking at someone on Hollywood or on TV because, like, we're not going to get them. So look all you want. I don't care. I have a few where I'm like, myself, And
But see, that's the beauty
stays there.
of the situation I'm in now, is because I can do that. There's a mutual attraction. We can both sit. She could say that there's a guy that's hot, and then I can say that there's a woman that's hot.
It's
understand
what it is,
how
man.
this is.
That's what I've always said. You can look at the menu. You just come home for dinner.
That's right. There you go.
That's just what it is, Because I mean, you're gonna notice someone you think hot, and even I think she's gorgeous.
Yeah, she really is.
If I look that good at her age, Jesus Christ, I don't even look that good now. Are we kidding? Who are we kidding? Like I don't even look as good as her now. But yeah, and it's fun to go back and watch them in their heyday, like when they were coming up and being a star or whatever. Or if you know Kim Cattrall from only Sex and the City, go back and see the other stuff she's done. Maybe this isn't the best, but it is one of them.
Hey, I'll give them credit. Everyone was doing their absolute best work.
They committed.
As far as acting goes. I mean, there's not a bad performance, okay? Everybody's committed to this weird shit, and I think that's what makes it kind of enjoyable in its own way.
I think that's how you can get through it, is because they all are just like, this is the world we're in.
Yep.
And this is how it works,
We're committed.
And I still just love that they wrote Hollywood to not give a crap as to how bizarre this man, that he understood. I guess coming from the one character who's like, look, I get shit all the time for who I love.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna, at least mine's human, but you do you, sir.
And they really did, like, I know we've already talked about it, but it was kind of progressive. Like, they didn't shy away from it.
Yeah.
I know there was at least a moment in there where he did say, like, said something to the point where it's not like, oh, it's not implied that he's gay. He is.
Oh, yeah. He was talking to him, getting advice about some dude named Albert, right? That
Albert,
he was like
yep,
talking
yep,
with or whatever. And they didn't make Jonathan get all, ugh, he's got a hit on me. He's got a he just had a human connection with somebody, and they were talking about how he could go on this date with Albert. You know, like that was also nice, where it wasn't like making his character think, oh, just because I'm hanging out with the gay guy, he's going to hit on me.
However, we have pointed out on many occasions throughout this entire episode, Jonathan's weird, so maybe that's why they wrote it that way.
Oh, I guess he would have been like, well, I don't see it that way at all. Anyway, look, I don't know why you people like humans.
Yeah. What do you mean, you people?
Oh, crap, you're right. That could be. I would have just, in my mind, it would have been you, as in the general you humans, you people like humans, so I wouldn't understand. But yes, if that line was said to him, I could see that being the retort. Like, crap, I stepped in it. That's not what I meant.
Yeah.
I just meant living people. How do you like other living people? It's gross. I'd rather have my mannequin.
Anyway, we'll wrap it up. So, yeah, anybody, if you out there, siblings, if you've watched, if you've heard of, if you've anything about Mannequin, we want to hear about it. Let us know on social media at SuperMegaCrash, or send us an email at supermegacrash@gmail.com. I would love to hear any stories that you have about having watched this movie before or recently, especially recently. Especially
if you're like us and you remembered like as a kid watching it a lot and you're revisiting it now going, oh, wow. Because a lot of that stuff went over my head as a kid.
Sure. And I would love to hear somebody, like you said, someone who's never seen it, who's youthful and just like, well, what is this thing? And give it a shot. I would love to hear that story as well. What did you think? Was this pure insanity?
Did you finish it?
Yeah. Was there cocaine involved in the making of this? Probably.
Oh, God, in the 80s,
It was in the budget.
Yeah,
We've heard that story.
It's always worked in the budget.
Support the show over on Patreon. Leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcasting app. And keep up with any and all things over at pencilpaperproductions.com/supermegacrash. Links are in the show notes down below. Join us again next week, siblings. But until then, be careful what you wish for and go beyond your limits.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.